How should one start preparing for interviews? To start with, one should start preparing for interviews. Fine, it's very important. Don't wait for the call letters to come. Don't wait for the invite to come. If you're in the mix, then prepare for the interview. Start now. Earlier you begin, the better it is. And so I'm going to give some broad patterns for what should one focus on. Interview questions kind of come in three buckets. Fine. One set is knowledge about stuff that you claim knowledge about. It's effectively two parts, ACADS and work experience. That is one part. So if you're a chemical engineer, you need to know about chemical engineering. If you're a BCom graduate, you need to know about balance sheet and P&L. That part. That's the ACAD part. Sitting inside that is your work experience thing. What is your job? What's your industry? What is your company? What is their USP? What is their positioning? What are they good at? What are their revenues? What are their profits? What is the industry like? That's that kind of stuff. That sits in one part. Part two is current affairs. That is knowledge about what's happening in the world. Keep abreast of all goings on and amp up detail. Part three, we are going to have questions about yourself. What we broadly call as HR questions. Why do you want to do an MBA? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Where have you shown leadership? When have you come across a challenge and overcome it? How have you worked on things that haven't gone your way, etc., etc., etc. And so these are the three broad parts of preparing. For the first part, how should you prepare? The ACADS part, go back to your textbooks and start from there. Don't do vague superficial stuff, but learn fundamental stuff. So you should know first law of thermodynamics, you should know fluid mechanics, stuff from your domain. You should know it reasonably in detail. You should know double entry bookkeeping. You should know how demand curve and supply curve, what are they, from scratch. So learn that as if you are preparing for your final exam. So learn it academically, not superficially. What are the chances of one exact topic coming? Very low. But you're going to ask something fundamental, and if you're in the mix, if you broadly know it, you're through. With more years of experience, your job profile becomes more important vis-a-vis your academic background. But till 2.5, 3 years of experience, it is very likely that I can ask you a couple of questions from your ACADS part. If you're a fresher, you have to prepare as if you're preparing for your final exams. So cover that in depth. Don't do some, look, these are the topic, these are the ideas, it'll all come to me, guff. Prepare in depth. Right? When it comes to your work experience part, if you're working in a large company, if you're working in Accenture, TCS, Cognizant, then know about your customer, your client, your role, know about revenues, profits, number of employees. Those things are important. The headline numbers, industry, but more depth on your role. If you're working on a smallish company, what is the company strategy? Will you probably go back to that organization? What is their role in the industry? The more company related stuff will get asked if you're working in a small company. More industry related and your role in related stuff will get asked if you're working in a large company. Keep that in mind. Second part, current affairs. This is super important. Be super curious and super crucial, increase your fact detail knowledge. That is the knowledge of numbers and facts. So you can't, right now when I'm reading news, I'm curious about the idea, but I don't worry about data. I don't know how many seats were there in each of the states that went for election. I don't know. I don't know how many seats each party. I know who came to power, which party came to power. I know there was a little bit of a tussle about kicking off the old guard and new guys becoming CM. But I don't know the number of seats. I don't know the who won what the exact combination. I don't know all that. You guys should. And so if you're saying, if you're reading anything by way of news, amp up detail and amp up the idea that you have to remember detail. You need to know cabinet ministers, you need to know ministers, you need to know Olympic medals, you need to know the first prime minister, president, that kind of stuff. And not like building a general knowledge pot, but just knowing broader news in greater detail. Right? Another thing to remember here, remove the riffraff, remove the opinion part, remove your view of what the fact is completely. So remove flavor. Learn fact, learn detail, learn idea. Does this mean you should not have an opinion? Everybody is entitled to an opinion. Two, some things are kind of opinion driven. But having one top line opinion without knowing the underlying fact is nonsense. So learn facts, learn layers of facts, learn both sides of the coin, know the numbers, details, then have an informed opinion. Don't start with one opinion and one flavor and go all guns blazing. Right? When it comes to a question that asks you to take sides, make it nuanced, don't go all guns blazing on one side, acknowledge the merits, demerits on both sides, but it's okay to have an opinion, okay to defend it, okay to stand your ground. All those are fine. I don't have to become bland in the process of being balanced. You can be super knowledgeable, balanced, and interesting. Find that mix. Very often people tell me, if I don't give any opinion, what is it? Won't it be boring? No. You can be super well informed and not boring. Find that line. Super important to know that. The HR questions, why do you want to do this? You'll realize that when you're answering these questions, in the first iteration, you load up with jargon and cliche. And so why MBA is one of the most commonly asked questions. Right? So people say, I want to have a holistic view of running a business. What is the holistic view? Why do you need to do an MBA for that? And so you'll load up your answer with standard cliche parts. And when you do that, it'll sound all artificial in round one. That's all right. But then work back and then find your own words to explain those points and bring some freshness into those answers. The answers are not easy. Even strengths and weaknesses, leadership, all fine. Why MBA? Why MBA now? Why MBA in this college? Those are all tough questions to answer. There's no easy, nice answer. But make sure that yours is reasonably true to the point and conveys what you're about. So these are the parts to work on. Above all this, think of the interview as a way to make a pitch and not as a way to just answer a few questions. Don't think of it as they've asked me something, I'll answer this, get out of this place. And that's the mode I was in when I was attending all my interviews. The foremost thought in my head was, without getting killed, I need to get out of this place. And that's a wrong attitude to have. I didn't think of the interview as, look, they've seen all my numbers, they've seen my CAT scores. It's my opportunity to showcase some parts of Rajesh the person rather than Rajesh an exam taker or an undergrad. I never thought like that. So I was worried about not knowing some answer. I was worried about blurting out answers and not messing them up. And I was super anxious to just leave. And it's all just the wrong way to go about this whole thing. You should be going in beaming and smiling. They've seen my numbers, now let's have a chat. So work and practice. Some people have this view that you can't really prepare for interviews. Look them in the eye and tell them they're wrong. And you can prepare tremendously for interviews. Some of my students have prepared 6-7 notebooks worth of notes about themselves and facts and knowledges and ideas and details about different things and revisited them before interviews. So you can aggressively prepare for interviews, wear that hat that says, look, I'm going to prepare for this and crack it and do it wonderfully well. And best wishes for your interviews.